Hi, today I'm going to tell you a story about a farmer and a prince, but before we get too stuck into it, I'll introduce you to our main characters. On the left of your screen is Farmer Growth Restricted. He's a simple man and does not come from a wealthy family. He's lived in the same house on the same farm for his entire life. He believes at this point there is nothing that could possibly surprise him. On your right is the Prince of Appropriately Grown. He's just moved in down the street. He comes from a wealthy family. He's never worked a day in his life and he's been given everything he has ever needed. But one day brings the ultimate equalizer, Hurricane Asphyxia, and you can see it looming over the men on your slide there. The men watch as it tears down neighbouring homes and they both set off into action, but in fundamentally different ways. The prince has never seen rain before. His hair has never gotten wet. So he panics, completely freaks out, demands the windows get barricaded shut and the doors get slammed closed. Don't prioritise the bedroom, he screams. We're going to need food more. Prioritise the kitchen. The farmer, however, has seen plenty of rain, but he's never seen a hurricane. He believes that the worst that could happen is what's happened in the past, which is that the floor gets a little bit wet or his food gets a little bit damp, but he doesn't really mind. So he kind of just closes his front door and awaits for the inevitable. But the question is, whose house will survive Hurricane Asphyxia? And this is what my research is interested in finding out. Growth-restricted babies develop in a low oxygen environment. So that made us ask the question, what happens when these babies experience a complete lack of oxygen at the time of birth? This is termed birth asphyxia. And what our research is currently showing is that the response of these babies is actually really relaxed, much like the farmer growth-restricted. At the end of their gestation, growth-restricted babies have a naturally low blood pressure and low oxygen level, which would be considered a bad thing. But when birth asphyxia starts, they're able to maintain blood pressure for longer. They're able to maintain blood flow to the brain and oxygen levels within the brain better than appropriately grown babies, which would be considered a good thing. But what we don't know is how this translates to the health of the brain. Is the growth-restricted brain better off or worse off having had this relaxed response? But let's get back to the main question at hand. Whose house is going to survive Hurricane Asphyxia? The calm farmer or the panicked prince? Thank you very much for listening.